So, hello everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here and tell you a bit more about what we actually built over the last few months, not even a year. As Jonas also mentioned, I actually have my own company called Flattening. What we do in Flattening is we use a lot of climate data science to be able to predict how companies can become more sustainable and help them to manage their emissions, reduce their emissions, report on them, and anything you need essentially on the sustainability topic. One thing that also resonated with me from the last conversation is that you're never going to be able to do it by yourself. You need to collaborate, if it's with the government, if it's with the corporates, if it's with the NGOs, all the startups. The story that I'm going to tell now is a reflection of this, and kind of Flattening knows that it has a big part to play, but it's never going to be possible for us to achieve the ambitions we have on tackling climate change if we don't work together with others. So, I hope you can see. It all started in May 2020. I think all of us know what was going on at that particular moment. There was COVID. COVID was by that time quite well established in our lives. We were all in lockdown. And we had quite a clear idea that this was something to stay. If there was this initial panic in the beginning of March where we didn't know what we were supposed to be buying because we never knew if we were going to be going out to the supermarket or not, May was kind of a moment where we were quite clear that this is a big event for a decade, for a century, even more. And it was something that was going to stipulate itself in our lives. There was also something else going on, and that was the actual fact that we were talking a lot about economic growth and how we need to reestablish it because the economy was going down and everything was shut and everything was in a standstill. And as much as this was something that we had been seeing before, it felt a bit more apocalyptic because it was actually related to an event we didn't know how it was going to unfold. And then the final thing, which you cannot see, I would say, as much, and maybe if there's a way to make it a bit brighter, it would be great, because this is a fantastic photo of Iceland, and it's one of those, I would say, still and humanless places that has a lot of natural beauty, and it's a reflection of a country that has decided to not touch its environment and to actually accept laws for that. There was something else that was also available in May 2020. We were looking into a reality which was really calm and peaceful. You didn't see people on the streets, and anywhere you would look, it felt like nature for once was taking a break. So how do we respond? Well, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm someone that really likes to do stuff. I don't sit and just become silent or sad about things, and I'm not the only one. One of the biggest challenges for sustainability entrepreneurs like me has been just like observing these new events and thinking of what's going to happen with the whole sustainability movement. Many of us had been building companies for years, and we have been seeing how society was opening up to all the messages that we were sending to them. But it was not necessarily clear how this was going to reflect on society in the longer term, because at the end of the day, if you have no security of your health, of the health of your family, friends, you probably are going to be thinking last about how to save the species and how to respond to having a more sustainable future. Well, we kind of decided that there's a different way to respond to this. Instead of panic, instead of drama, we decided to build a community called the Greentech Alliance that anyone can find on greentech.earth. The community was released in May, on the 4th of May, and I'll tell you what happened since. But essentially, the short summary of what this community stands for is an opportunity to connect transparent, focused on following the science, green tech companies, and give them a chance to solve their problems by connecting to scientists, entrepreneurs, successful investors, press, and anyone that essentially can solve their problems. Why? Because this type of an entrepreneur needs a lot more support, first in terms of how society responds to their existence, because we still get to be labeled as NGOs and so on, even though there's a lot more awareness. And the second aspect is that we need speed. We know about the SDGs, we have 10 years, we have been hearing how the UN is saying we have 12 years. The deadlines are many, But the main point is that this innovation needs to be accelerated. And it's not going to happen with the help of only one single company. So what has been achieved? You know, I'm giving you a definition that has already some numbers. Well, within 4 months, we managed to attract a lot of people. And I'll explain how we've selected all these people that you would be learning about. We focused on a few aspects when selecting these companies. We received since May more than 700 applications, and out of them we've selected 400 companies. How? Basically every single company that applies on the website gets to be interviewed for 15 minutes, but enough to know if they're doing greenwashing, if they know what they're building, and if also they're doing this for the money only. There's plenty of those, because now it's quite fashionable to be building a green company, but it's really easy to detect them because they cannot kind of stand behind the facts and cannot explain with a lot of words what the science is actually telling them. The second really important aspect is that they have a business model that is directly related to improvement of the health of our planet. This means that if you are producing sustainable business cards, you probably don't fit because you are still exhausting the natural resources that we have on this planet. It's more about finding ways in which you can turn old business cards into something useful for someone else. And then the final thing with which I can finish, and if you want to go into the details, you find a lot of information on our website of what we define as Greentech, is following the science. It's really simple. There's a lot of facts out there, and there's a lot of opportunity for all of us to align. And we can be as simple as essentially speaking about this and knowing what is standing behind the problem that our business is solving. All of the companies that we've accepted have been able to justify what kind of problem they're solving and how does this reflect the reality and the facts that the science have shared. So we launched on the 4th of May with an event that was viewed by 1,000 people simultaneously. We couldn't share slides, we had some technical issues, but it was actually a really incredible reflection of how connected the society related to this topic wanted to be. By now, we have approved 400 startups. We have 250 advisors, and these are people that are famous journalists. We have incredible people like Jonas and Dominic who are here also supporting the ecosystem. We have people that have written the IPCC report, people that have set up the climate labs in MIT, in Yale, essentially the driving factors behind this topic. And we have 10 organizations that have trusted us with essentially giving them a lot of information about what the startups need so that they can tailor their own activities or at least hear the feedback. So who are we? I'm one of the founders. My company is called Planet.Earth. Our COO is also joining us. We have Simon, who is one of the founders of Green City Solutions, an amazing startup focusing on clean air in Berlin. Hannah, she's focusing on sustainable fashion. Andrew Green is focusing on making Christmas trees essentially not exist in the shape and form that we know them now, but rather making them continue living in a forest. And finally, we have Emma. She's part of Ecoligo, that is a very well-known sustainable energy startup in Berlin. Our partners include Yale Open Lab, Climate Kick, Urban Impact, Change Now, which is a really influential organization in France, focusing on connecting this ecosystem there. And St. Gallen Symposium, one of the most prominent leadership meetings yearly between the new generation and your generation of leaders. What is the Greentech Alliance? It's global. We're not German specific, even though all the founders are based in Berlin. We have more than 100 countries already in terms of members, people from Indonesia, people from Iceland, really like a diverse group of people solving different problems. It's accessible, anyone can apply. You just need to pass the test. It's focused on green tech. We don't accept some, like for example, we've had a lot of applications with people focusing on societal issues. We want to be really stellar focused because it allows us to have a lot more impact. It's KPI driven. We're not just yet another label. We actually have some KPIs that we follow up on a monthly basis. And we're growth focused. We want to see the companies grow. Well, we're not a lobbying company. We're not also a greenwashing organization. We're not exclusive. We don't want to say that if you don't have that amount of money in your bank account, you cannot pass. If you're not a Series A company, you cannot pass. It's more about your commitment. What do we offer to the members? Well, one-on-one sessions with the advisors, content, events which are quite unique, and then we have monthly challenge solving sessions, and now is starting to focus a lot more on financing. We've already managed to organize more than 100 matchmaking sessions, and there's been the first 4 million secured thanks to the connections we've established. Our KPIs are funding, growth stage, and also partnerships among the members. There's already like initiatives that have been set up between them, and it's really exciting to see them. I want to finish on a positive note. I'm doing what I'm doing in my life because I truly believe that we still have the chance to align ourselves as a society for a topic that is really challenging to grasp. Climate change is a collection of issues, it's not one, but it requires this collaborative effort that has been mentioned in the previous chat and also will be, I'm sure, in the next ones. What it takes is for us to start understanding that we are not the managers of the ecosystem, but rather participants in it, who have to start respecting nature and also start collaborating with one another. Thank you so much.